If you're currently experiencing what you presume is silence, or maybe it's no specific communication from your specific person, that doesn't mean that nothing's happening. Here is what your specific person is actually going through behind the scenes, and it's more powerful than you realize. That's what I'm going to explain to you guys. Hey, welcome back to today's video for your specific person. Chances are this topic has brought in new viewers, so hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Alexa, a manifestation coach, and yes, we're delving into your specific person and the journey, what your person is experiencing while you're putting in the work. I have a full face of makeup, I've done a whole look, I'm fake tanned, which I'm so pale, maybe it doesn't show up. If you are interested in that side of things, my life, my vlogs, my exciting moments, this look is for something very exciting today. So head over to my vlog channel. It should be linked below. It's linked on my page as well. If you want any of the makeup details, the look details, I haven't done my hair or outfit yet, but that is the little disclaimer there. Because if you watch a lot of my videos, you'll see I'm usually like barefaced almost in my videos. So yeah, that is going to be over there. But if you would like extra manifestation content, support, help, everything will be popped on screen for extra paid services like one-to-one coaching, group coaching in the sense that it's my membership. You can become an LOA coaching darling and get extra content. So yeah, everything and all the buttons are right below the screen if you want to take a look. And now let's start the video. So for both you and your specific person, if there is no visible movement, the chances are you are genuinely creating an inner shift. Now, if you're at the beginning of your journey or you've just started really putting in effort, really getting back on track and understanding what you actually need to do to get to that desired outcome and really getting focused on it, then you are creating that inner shift. So if you're at that point in your experience and you haven't been looping affirmations for an extended period of time, chances are you're at that point where you are literally doing everything perfectly. It is coming together and you're creating an inner shift for you and your specific person. So throughout the video, I will delve deeper into this. I'm not just going to, as with all my videos, I'm not just going to give you guys an overarching statement and not explain it. But yeah, essentially you are creating inner shifts for you, internally conforming in your mind and your feelings, and for your specific person. Your mental resistance to your manifestation, to being with your specific person, is going to lower as well. You're putting in motion the results that you want. The reality that you want to experience is starting to come together. The literal, composition, atoms, quantum reality is coming closer and closer to you. You are merging into that reality. You're making it more and more real, which is what makes it become your physical reality. So you're putting it in motion. If you're lowering your mental resistance, which, like I said, if you're affirming, you're staying on track, you are genuinely consciously manifesting your person, then you are lowering and reducing your own mental resistance, meaning opposing thoughts, logical thoughts, the old story, any negative beliefs or assumptions you had about your person, dating, anything like that, it's being reduced. They themselves are impacted by the shift in your thoughts, in your energy. So that's not to say if you feel high vibration or positive emotions, it doesn't instantly correlate to you getting everything you want. It has to be aligned with that topic, which is why I always say, affirming, visualizing, mentally embodying the end result is the key element. But your energy, shifting into the energy, the feelings, the emotion, they do tie into that, especially if you're affirming and you're imagining it to be real. When you physically experience for yourself, just like make believe from your affirmations, in that moment, feeling the conforming, not literally deluding yourself into it, but you feel it, you can imagine it, you can imagine living that reality with your specific person. That is affecting it. They feel that energy, they feel that shift. When you tap into that and you can somewhat sustain it or get back into that state quite easily, or every time you start affirming for a long period, you get into that state, that is all really, really positive progress. Your body and mind are normalizing it, adapting to it, accepting it as the new reality, and your person feels that. You can't be putting in effort and shifting your own mind and nothing be happening for them. That's not the way the law of assumption works. The one thing that also happens, or rather doesn't happen, is they're not consciously acknowledging it. They're not going to suddenly realize they're being manifested. They're not going to magically be magnetized and pulled towards you or do things against their free will, in the sense that they still make their own decisions in life. You're not manipulating or forcing, but they come to those conclusions on their own. So that's the time it takes to conform, whether it's reaching out, having thoughts about you, conversations about you, removing certain circumstances or third-party relationships that were a block, that were negative, all those kind of things can take a little bit of time. As you know, you don't suddenly wake up and make 50 million changes in your life. It's the same for your specific person, but they are taking those steps. They are being affected and conforming because of it. And remembering as well that the 3D reality is usually delayed. Usually you do not see and experience that instant shift. It can take time. It's usually echoing the old story a little bit. It's a little bit delayed. There's a lag behind that. If you imagine it, let's analogize it. You're in a relay race. You're standing next to your 3D reality and you're first place and the 3D reality is in second place. They're always going to be a little bit behind you. You're always speeding ahead because that's you with your mindset. And then the 3D reality lags behind a little bit, but it's following, it's catching up. It's just going to, get to the finish line in second place. So yeah, that's actually, I think, a really good analogy. So your 3D is going to be delayed. So just remember that. Don't interpret that and take that on board as truth and fact. It's all subjective. Whatever you perceive it to be and whatever assumptions you focus on, that's what the reality is. So try not to hold on to those circumstances as fact. Tying it back into quantum physics, observation creates and shapes your reality. So you're the observer, observing, with a visual in your mind, a reality, you're imagining, thinking about that reality. And that observation is what shapes and shifts and molds your reality. So the negative circumstances are going to dissolve without your focus. That's where the mental diet, looping affirmations, all of that comes in. By doing those practices, by thinking that way, training and conditioning your mind and, adapting your thought patterns that way, you're teaching yourself to think from the new reality. And then all the negatives have to eventually dissipate, disappear, and just be replaced, basically. So your person has no choice but to conform to your identity shift. Even if you're in no contact or you're not having direct communication or you're not physically experiencing and seeing the signs, they are still feeling that energetic pull, that, literal shift and conforming, the quantum energy, however you want to categorize it, they're feeling that shift in you. When you internally start to change and put the effort, they will. It's not the other way around. You can't expect and wait for your SP to suddenly change and have a wake-up call. You have to change the way you think about them and your actual relationship with them. And that is especially true when you've embodied your assumptions, when you persist and are consistent. That's why I always say that to my clients. I'm always reminding my clients and in these videos that it's so important to, not using the phrase embody your assumptions, but to be consistent, to literally start to accept and normalize and focus on your affirmations or visualizing, whatever method. But as long as you're applying repetition, you're being consistent, you're persisting, you're not giving up, that's the key element. That's what's going to ensure that it does come true and does continue to conform. So it's essentially the case that you are, the phrase itself is a little bit nuanced and sounds a bit weird, but shared consciousness. So your SP being your mirror reflection, technically, your SP is going to have to mirror back what you assume about them. And you have that entanglement. You're entangled energetically through your thought, through your assumptions. Your mindset internally is shaping everything that you see and experience externally. So you're getting a mirror reflection back to you of how you assume them to be, what you think, what you consistently and dominantly focus on about them. So if it's, whether it's no contact or constant texting, whether or not it's true, it doesn't matter. It's not about the physical fact of what you're currently seeing. It's about what you convince yourself of. Them loving you or them rejecting you, them pursuing you or them, moving on with someone else, whatever it might be. It's literally just down to your assumptions. It's not about what you're seeing in front of you right now. So as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're experiencing really positive shifts and if you've been consistent, those two are interlinked. So if you've been consistent, then you're creating some kind of internal shifts that maybe you can't see from your SP just now. But if you've been affirming or you've been on the manifesting experience exactly as you are right now for a really long period of time, then chances are you've still held on to and fed into your doubts. And that's why you're continuously seeing the lack or, a negative circumstance or just things not changing, basically. It's probably because it's just reflecting that your doubts are still your dominant focus. So everyone will have some kind of old negative thought patterns, but your consistency overrides that. The repetition of your affirmations or whatever practices, it literally overrides that. So if you stay consistent, by tomorrow, by next week, by next month, it will be completely different. You will feel such a shift if you can start to put in, the willpower and effort to change the way you think, you will see and feel that experience and shift within yourself, which means that they also have to be experiencing that. They have to be conforming. So it's all, bubbling to the surface. So give it a little bit longer and stay focused. That's why patience is really important, because the time is delayed. There is a time lag with your 3D reality. You have to give it a little bit of patience and grace. So while you are in that essentially what you could call the waiting phase, don't chase, don't spiral. You don't need to initiate unless it just happens naturally. You don't need to pre-plan. Try and figure out every last thing. You're not writing, a university or PhD thesis. You're just living your life. You're supposed to be thriving, working on yourself, focusing on yourself. You don't need to chase after your SP. You don't need to check up on them. You don't need to monitor the 3D. You're not the babysitter of the 3D reality. So just remember that your internal reality is what's way more real than your external reality, because that is being shaped and shifted by what you focus on. So you can also really use this time to double down on your self-concept. And this can tie directly into relationships, dating, how, it would tie into your SP viewing you, treating you, what you deserve. That's going to help you stay balanced and confident and, feeling high value, having good self-worth. It's going to prevent the spiraling. So that's another little extra thing that you can add on to your current routine whilst you're in the process of creating all of this. So I think this was a really good video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell. I would love to have you guys as a subscriber if you haven't yet. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video.